Arlington police and some members of the public have been staring each other down over the past few months, but things really escalated this past weekend with the arrest of 3 members of Cop Watch.
Don't pull away when an officer's addressing you. You're being detained right now for police interference. Hey, that's not detained for police interference. Hey, can you Katie, calm down. That's not right.
The watchers say this video is typical police heavy-handedness. Arlington's police chief says that he's tried to defuse the situation and talk it out with the Cop Watch group. The watchers went on record saying they are only interested in assisting police abuse victims, not in opening a dialogue with authority.
All right, we want to take a look at the videos and the issues at play here with attorney Pete Schulte, who's a sworn police officer. He's been a prosecutor in the past and now defends clients, so we've got that covered. We asked Corey Watkins from Cop Watch to come in. There's been some comments on his Facebook page about coming on live and being unedited. He refused to come in. He says our reports are one-sided in favor of the police. This is a chance to talk live and no editing, but he refused tonight. Hope to get him on sometime in the future. All right, so Pete, let's talk about this in general. Let's start with the law. What's at play here? What's the most important part of the law, how it reads, and what's happening out there?
It's called interference with public duties. All right, so basically it's a Class B misdemeanor, equivalent of a first DWI case. And basically, if you interrupt with some sort of police officer doing an official duty, like a traffic stop. So if it rises to the level the police officer believes that these terms aren't defined, they're just what laymen think they are, interfering, interrupting, doing those sort of things, you can get arrested for interfering with public duties.
No, but this seems like this would be what they're talking about, these open-ended things, because being obnoxious isn't illegal.
That's
and
correct.
They've even said they're obnoxious and because they're kind of anti-police, and we're okay to be obnoxious. But these open-ended things, well, I get to define what that is, and you're impacting my investigation, and I get to define it, you're going to jail. That's what they're complaining about.
Well, the law is very clear that speech only cannot be used to arrest somebody for this particular offense. So if they were standing next to a traffic stop and not taunting the officers, just being quiet with their cameras and not really engaging the officer on a traffic stop, they wouldn't be in violation of the statute. Police officers are trained that traffic stops are one of the most deadly situations for officers next to domestic violence cases. And when somebody walks up on a traffic stop, you don't know why they're there. You don't know if it's somebody that's involved with the stop in front of you. You don't know if somebody's coming onto the scene. It is a situation where an officer has to be alert, and they're trained to be alert, so you're going to get contacted.
Now, this was the one, there was dash cam, both kind of sides of the arrest there. This was Cop Watch video, and the other one was dash cam. It got kind of out of control. Watkins claimed the police came very close to his wife, and he started screaming and F-bombing. I don't know. Where does that fall?
The case law or the courts have ruled that it's no longer free speech if it pushes for action. So if some sort of speech is inciting a riot or doing some sort of, yelling at somebody to do something like run from the police, that's not free speech because that's a call to action.
And I haven't heard that. I haven't heard any of that.
I agree with you on that. But what it comes down to is, were they interrupting or interfering with the police doing their job? And the standard is not whether they thought it was reasonable to them. The law says that they're acting with what's called criminal negligence. And basically, a jury is going to evaluate them. What would a normal, prudent person be doing?
So a jury would say, would I do that? No, that's not normal, and so that could be a conviction,
right.
Technically.
That could lead to a conviction in court on these types of cases. Now, we have court systems, and that's what I tell people who want to interact with police while they're doing their official jobs. I mean, if a police officer is eating at a restaurant, you want to go engage them. They're not performing an official duty. But when they're interacting with the public or doing a traffic stop, these are what these laws are designed to protect.
One of the other focuses was that he carries a black powder pistol, and he said it wasn't loaded, but guns are, well, let's watch how this plays out, and then we'll talk about guns and police officers. Let's watch how that interaction plays out.
Do you realize why?
No, I don't. No.
Because it's different when
this is illegal.
It's different when you're standing.
This is illegal. I'm being illegally detained for walking down the sidewalk. I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong, brother.
This says only way to get this thing out.
Listen, this is the black powder revolver. Just take it out. It's unloaded. There's nothing in it. I've told you.
Why are you carrying a black powder?
Because it's legal in the state of Texas, and I have that right.
Our traffic stop with a pistol.
Sir, why do you show up on a traffic stop with a pistol?
Why are you showing up on a police traffic stop with a pistol?
Why are you showing up on a police traffic stop with a pistol? I have the right to do so. You're fine. You can hold
We
me.
have a duty to serve and protect the citizens.
So do I. Okay? I have a duty to serve and protect myself.
And he's right. But it's a tough situation, right? And let me tell you my observation. It was funny how he's screaming his head off, but he was smart. He knew the officer right next to him who wanted to take a look at that gun. He talks really, go ahead, it's not loaded, take it out. It's kind of a persona almost, and he's smart when he talks to the guy right next to him. He lowers his voice and say, take it out, it's not loaded. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, it's never a good idea to bring a gun that close to a police officer, even if it may be legal. And I don't want to have the viewers out there thinking they can start carrying these Civil War era replicas of guns around when there's police. I mean, anytime a police officer sees a gun, they're going to contact you and say, what is it? Is it loaded? Is there a threat to me? But he is not. I mean, look how close he is to the police car in this particular video. That is too close to a traffic stop. And I think a jury looking at this video would go, what in the world are these people doing? There's a court system. If this individual who was stopped by the police felt like that they were being wronged,
And
there's a court system for that.
You can't really see it now, but he's getting taken into custody.
Arlington Police is interesting. Out of all these videos, you see that's a sergeant that is dealing with these individuals, and that's probably smart. I mean, a regular officer is not going to be making the call probably to arrest individuals for interference, because even as a prosecutor, they're very difficult to prosecute.
If you're going to defend what you just saw as a defense attorney, you do that, you might get a call. How do you defend that?
What I would say is, if I was forced to defend this particular case, I wouldn't want to take this sort of case, because I do believe the vast majority of police officers do their jobs and do it well and do it within the law. I think some of the actions of these individuals to try to taunt the officers, to try to get them to do something, are flat out wrong.
I get it, and you're a cop, so
right. I mean,
but
but
if you were going to defend him,
I believe in the rule of law. So if I was going to defend these individuals, I would use the argument that they weren't acting outside what normal people who want to keep their public servants accountable from doing, and that's what I would argue to the jury. Be a tough argument, I think, with some of the videos, but I think if these individuals just sat back, had their video cameras up, did their recordings, and didn't taunt, didn't yell, didn't do anything, we wouldn't have any of these issues.
But they do speak for a certain segment of the population. And this traffic stop we're watching last night was no front license plate. And sometimes that turns into, I think I smell marijuana. I want to search your. And that is frustrating to a lot of people who don't have marijuana, and they're saying, you're just giving me a hard time, and it isn't right. And there is a segment of the population that has gone through that and is tired of that stuff, and they represent that segment of the population.
What I'd say to them is that if they have a problem with that, they need to contact their legislators. I mean, there's nothing that I've seen in these particular videos where the police officer did anything wrong.
Okay.
And we don't hear from the people who were stopped. I mean, all we're hearing is from this group. We're not hearing from the individuals that were stopped for the violations. And I guarantee you, most of the time, if you're stopped for that,
get on down the road.
they just want to get on down the road.
Yeah,
right.
and I know also, before we wrap this up, a lot of bad people have been stopped because they didn't have a license plate.
Well,
Timothy McVeigh didn't have a license plate. That's why he got.
Well, look at the SMU case earlier that was driving erratically, so they stopped him, and
Right.
they were able to make that arrest. So
Okay, it's a balance.
it's a balance. So don't engage the officers. Let the officers do their job. Be a good witness, but don't worry about engaging.
I don't think cop watchers. They're not listening to you tonight. We'll see.
Well,
where
we'll
this all
see.
goes. All right, thanks.
Absolutely.